Woo!
Mark jumped in. I hope he's got audio now.
Am I here?
Barely. I think we can do it. All right, we're going to get right to it because we've got a lot to talk about today, and that is our friends from Sweet Sister Mercy with our theme song there. Thank you guys for that one. Woo! And welcome to Wednesday with the Band here at All Around Town Radio, everybody. And I've got a great show today for you featuring, I guess, a morph. I'm going to call it a morph. It is Billy Watts, okay? We have morphed two great Cincinnati bands together here, and we're talking to Billy Watts today. Let me make sure I've got Mark's audio. Mark, can you hear me? Oh, we've lost Mark's vocals. We do not have Mark's vocal. We do not have you, Mark. Sorry. Billy, I got you?
Yes, sir, you do.
All right. Got you perfect. Alex, do I have you?
Yes, sir.
Well, I've got two members of Billy Rock Band, and I've got Mark Cooper down there from Crown Watts, who we're going to have to put subtitles under today if we can't get his audio here. So hopefully he'll get it working. And Mark, if you'll go to those audio settings real quick and check, see if you can switch to your device.
I think
you got it. I think you're on.
Okay.
Yes, we got you. Hey, I love it. All right. So welcome, Mark Cooper from Crown Watts. And fellas, we are here to talk about this collaboration known as Billy Watts. Can you give me a little history about this and how you guys put this all together? Alex is playing the guitar for us. I like that. Who wants to take it?
I think it started when the Billy Rock Band had a show at MVPs a couple years ago, and we invited ourselves to come on stage. No.
Oh, one of those. All right.
Well, it was about a week before, and I mentioned it because we had been talking about it for years about trying to do something with both bands. And MVPs had a big enough stage, and we were like, hey, let's do it. So we spent about a week getting a few songs together, and it did it, and it came off great, and it was a blast. And now it's just a thing every year. So.
Well, I will say that this is what, the third time you guys have done this? How many? Third time. This will be your third time collaborating, and it always gets a lot of hype. I mean, people love both your bands. They're just fanatics about your bands, and when you do this mashup thing, it really seems to work. And so, how long had you had this in mind, Mark? You kind of said a little bit. It was you guys kind of put it together quickly, but how long had you all had in mind to play together on stage?
It was a couple years. I would go out and see these guys and talk to Bill a little bit, and I don't know what made me do that because I go see other bands and it never occurred to me. But it's probably a couple years of talking to him about it, and it's just the timing was right on that particular date. And like I said, the stage was big enough. You know, you got 7 guys up there. You need a fairly large square footage.
Yeah, definitely.
There. So.
That's cool that you guys put this together. And, like I said, the hype out there for it is just fantastic. And Billy, we've interrupted Billy's vacation today, by the way. He came in off the patio because the wind's blowing. There's a storm blowing in off the ocean. Oh, poor Billy.
I know.
He is down there in Florida, and you're looking pretty relaxed today, Billy.
I'm feeling relaxed. It's wonderful. We're right on the ocean, and I'm actually up in one of the upper levels. They have a crow's nest up top with beautiful balcony, but I really wanted to make the most picturesque setup for myself, but it's just a little too windy today. But I'm very happy to be with you guys today.
I think he's relaxed because he's not getting pummeled by cicadas right now.
Yes.
The cicadas have been the topic of our shows for a whole week now, at least, maybe more. Every time we get on, everybody's talking about getting pelted by cicadas when they're out cutting their grass and doing everything. Be glad where my studio is, there's none. And I probably should knock on wood there because they'll be out soon. But we've got a lot of people join us. Thank you, Glenn, for being here on the YouTube channel. Jim McCarthy, thank you so much. Dan Doolin, thank you for being with us as well. And Billy, talk to me real quick about, why you decided to collaborate with Mark and his band. I mean, I know you guys are all friends, but what made that work?
Well, Mark can probably attest to this as well as Alex and all of my friends out there that are in bands. You know, it's a huge brotherhood and sisterhood that we have with our music scene in Cincinnati and elsewhere. But we so often kind of spin in our own orbit because we're focused on bookings, we're focused on material, we're focused on our performance and trying to create a lane for ourselves and a brand that you know, a lot of times find yourself kind of operating in this isolation. And I think it's cool and fun to every once in a while shake it up a bit and you know, mix these talents together. And you know, Mark and I have known each other for a long time. We've had a really great and valuable friendship from my perspective. And although it is confounding, you know, to try and make the Reese's cup, right? Your peanut butter and my chocolate or whatever, and you know, find a way to make it have chemistry on stage can be challenging. I thought, you know, it really came with ease with these guys. And of course, I love all the members in Crown Watch. And it just turned out to be one of those scenarios where it worked. And so the first time we did it, we all kind of recognized that it was a lot of fun. And so each year we've kind of been like, well, let's give it another shot next year. And, you know, last year we did 20th Century. We were actually the first live show that they had post renovation. And it was a lot of fun. And this year we've decided to take it to Madison Theater. So we're excited about it and hoping to see a lot of the familiar faces and even new ones this time around.
There's Mark back. All right, Alex, tell me, Alex, about this project you're dealing with here. I mean, you three guys in Billy Rock have a bigger sound than a lot of bands I see that are 5, 6, 7-piece bands. I mean, you guys are a powerhouse band. What do you think about this collaboration, Alex?
It's exciting for me personally because I get to play guitar. And, you know, with Billy Rock, I play bass and I love playing the bass. And when we had this concept, having the idea of getting to have 3 guitars, which is sort of very 70s-esque anyways. And a lot of our music in Billy Rock Band leans towards that 70s stuff. And then a lot of the Crown Watts stuff covers that territory too. And so one of the big sort of dream scenarios is 3 lead guitar players, and it's really hard to get that together in one band. And so getting to do that with this group is one of the huge appeals for me, is to play other instruments and get to join into the 3 guitar rock and roll madness, plus the dual drummer aspect of it. So it just takes, while we are happy to be able to bring the thunder with the mighty Billy Rock trio, it's just a whole different level of enjoyment and thrill when you've got 2 whole drum kits of badass drummers back there and 3 guitars and lots of singing and madness. To get that sort of giant band feel is really fun, and we don't get to do it very much. And so this is one of the times we get to do it, which was a huge draw for me personally, for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, as I said when I let in here, you've taken a band full of people, and I don't know where that. Let me see where that noise is coming from, guys. I apologize for our audio issues today, and let me see. It is not. Yes, it is Mark's mic, I think. No, it's not Mark's mic. Whose mic is that? Anybody know? Is it mine? I don't know. We're trying to get that clicking out of there. Let's see. I'm going to go around the room and see who I can get rid of. Oh, let's see. Did we get rid of it? Maybe Alex, that's you. I don't know what's clicking in the background, but something's doing that. Tickety tuck. Let me move down here a minute to the guys below, and I just muted you again, Alex, and now it's still there. So something's still there. So I don't know what's shaking. We'll just let it go. Let's talk about a step back into the 70s and 80s. Why that, guys? Who wants to take that? Why the 70s and 80s? I mean, Crown Watts, you have your style of, I call it proggy rock stuff and all that, and Billy, you have your yacht rock side to you. Why the 70s and 80s for this mashup?
I can take the lead on that. So, as you know, Scott, from our history and friendship and interviews, that I chose that lane a while ago. In many ways, simply because it was an era that I grew up in, and I like to take people with me back on this journey of so much of that feel good 70s and early 80s vibe, because it reminds me of my childhood, of which I had a great one, and it's I won't say it's an emotional experience, but it's certainly it's a profound walk back into those times that I just loved growing up in. And as Alex had mentioned earlier, Crown Watts shares that style with us in that, they certainly, with the Rush show, you're going back in time and reliving some of those great songs and all the memories attached to it. But this being the third show is kind of an evolution of those themes. And I should say this to both of these guys while we're on, because I'm certainly capable of screwing up. We have a couple featured guests that are surprises, and you'll have to be there to see who they are. But we've got a couple of fun additions to this third Billy Watts show. But so really, in whole, the reason that we have used this 70s and 80s rock waves theme is because it's kind of age appropriate for us and for most of our demographics. So we're really just trying to remind people how great that time was through the conduit of music.
Well, and it's obviously I'm a 70s and 80s baby too. I mean, I love that music. And Mark, you guys play a different style than Billy Rock does. Crown Watts is if I were to say there's no real comparison between the two of you other than the fact that you guys are premier in Cincinnati. I mean, did you ever think, by the way, that this would grow like you guys have? I mean, you really have put together, both of you, a great product. And anytime you play anywhere, you get a packed house most of the time. I'm blown away by it. And two totally separate, I hate to say genres because you're kind of in the same vibe, but you know what I'm saying here. It's just, you wouldn't ever compare a Crown Watts show to a Billy Rock show. I mean, it's just a totally different style of music, but yet you can put it together here. Mark, what do you think about all that?
Yeah, kind of separate but equal. A lot of the reason we started, me anyway, was just what Bill was saying. So your childhood, you kind of grew up with that stuff and going to high school, but also we do it that era because nobody writes 10-minute long songs anymore. That's really the only era you can go back to, and
I love that.
Think about songs like Round Out or even like Stairway to Heaven, and some of the Southern rock, the Outlaws and Skynyrd, and I mean there was 7, 8, 9, 10-minute songs that would get airplay that are classics now that would never see the light of day on the radio these days, and it's just more fun. There's more meat on the bone to work through, and we love doing the work.
Well, this is a big production. I mean, obviously, you guys put a lot of time and effort into this. So, Dewey asked a great question there, which I was going to ask down the road, but I'm going to bring it in now. How do you decide what songs to play as this collaboration? And who really do you ever veto one, or you say, I just don't think that'll work for me, or whatever? I mean, is this a long process, or are you guys pretty much compatible and you just say, yeah, let's go with what we've got here? Billy? You're up.
I would say there is some of that. You know, there are choices that are made and brought forward. Alex, in his infinite wisdom, immediately dubbed Mark our music director, because in most scenarios, as you know, someone eventually has got to be the last man standing in the decision, right? Otherwise, you go around in circles forever, because the subjective nature of music, anyways, everyone could argue a good, make a good argument for any one of those songs, So at some point, the buck's got to stop somewhere. So I think Mark did a great job, along with feedback from us, of pulling together a fun little trip down memory lane. Now we will revisit a couple of favorites that we had from previous shows, but there'll be some new stuff in there. And of course, each of us are doing more of a themed artist set this time, rather than a collection of songs. So
Dewey did ask, he did say that Goodbye Stranger was one of his favorites from your previous shows. You're going to do that one again? Can you let it out of the bag? All
yes,
right.
We will do that one.
Perfect. Thank you, Dewey, for that comment. Also, Alex, I want to pick your brain. You mentioned the 3 guitar thing. And, I think when I think of 3 guitars, I think of all the old 70s tunes where the dueling guitars are going on and all that, and the harmonizing guitars and all the stuff that went on in those great acts of the 70s. How cool is that for you to play guitar, for one, when you're used to playing bass, and then to join 2 other great guitar players?
Well, it really is the coolest, actually.
I bet.
It's the coolest thing in the world, because so I think that's another reason to harken back to your question earlier about why that particular time frame of music. Mark had mentioned that there's so much epic long form music written, which Crown Watts really digs into. It's such a high exemplary level, right? But then he's still the only guitar player in that group, right? So he doesn't get to do the back-to-back guitar, harmonized dual leads. And to have somebody that can go toe-to-toe with a player like Mark, you got to dig pretty deep. And we're very fortunate in Billy Rock Band to have just such a guitar player in Christian Robles, who's arguably one of the greats, here in our scene, if not just anywhere, right? So watching those 2 get to do that incredibly slick, giant double guitar stuff is amazing. And then I just try to fit in there somewhere. And the beauty of it is a lot of that stuff already has the 3 guitar parts written, right? And so we can lean on the stuff that's already there. But then, as Billy had mentioned, we sort of crowned our Crown Watts colleague to be the musical director on this one, to sort of alleviate what Billy talked about going around and who's going to play what parts. So Mark was able to dig into the vast musical catalog and think, all right, here's the assets I have at my disposal, and how can I best use every person to be able to have fun and put their best foot forward and enjoy what they're doing. So I think that informed how he chose the songs. And then he and Christian, they're both so amiable to work with. I mean, it was almost like you had to hit either one of them over the head to get them to say, I'll take the lead, which is funny because they're just lead guitarists inherently, right? But so they were very easy to decide, okay, I'll take the high parts of the harmony and you'll take the low parts of the harmony, and then I'll take the first lead and you'll take the second lead. And then, if there's super long ones, then I can take a third lead, and all that completely adds to the excitement. It gives you a way to break out of the everyday grind that it is to be in any business, including our business. And so I think Mark did an excellent job. He's also got 2 drummers, 2 lead singers, 4 backup singers, keyboards, all these assets that he could use. If you think about a musical director thinking about how do I choose the songs, I think he used that playbook of I've got these assets and I'll choose this material because I've got all those people that I can bring to the table. And so
really the biggest way I've kind of chosen these songs is who's going to play what, filling out the lineup card. I mean, other than the general idea and the era and the genre, that's the biggest thing is you don't want anybody standing around, and you don't want anybody playing the same part, so you got to dig through the songs and just, like Alex just said, who's going to play what, keep everybody busy, and keep separate parts, so that's probably the biggest
Do you guys
thing we decide on what we're going to do.
Do you guys have a favorite 3-part guitar song? I mean, it's just absolutely blows you away that you have to do.
Well, we tried a Boston one for last year, but that didn't work out. That would have been awesome though. But a lot of it is not even just harmonies. It's parts. They might not, be a harmonized lead like a Boston song is. But there's space for an acoustic guitar, a lead, 2 different lead guitars. And, in this project also, I'll play a MIDI guitar on parts that basically sounds like a synthesizer or strings or whatever. So I can keep myself occupied with that. And Alex is like kind of our utility guy, because he can do acoustic, he can play bass, he can play electric, he can play harmonica, vocals. So pretty useful. So I'm just always thinking about who's going to do what, basically.
Gotcha. Billy, can you name everybody that's going to be playing, that's going to be on that stage besides your special guests you want to keep secret?
Yes, we've got, of course, Mark Cooper. I'll go Crown Watts first. Mark Cooper, Ryan Simpson, Tim Cornelius, who plays keys, Ryan on drums, the incomparable Alex Hughes, who I've had the joy of playing with in other projects. I think we went to Cleveland together to do a show with that was Alex Hughes, right?
That was Alex. Yeah.
Noah Hunt. And then, of course, in my band, you've got Alex Lush, who's on with us today, Christian Robles, who plays guitar, and myself, Billy McCarthy. And then some super secret guests.
Teaser. This is a teaser, ladies and gents. Remember that. All right. Get there to find out who the super secret guests are. And, you just mentioned a top tier of talent in Cincinnati, and we are so fortunate in this region to have just excellent musicians and a great music community. And what I love is that you guys can take basically, I hate the term polar opposite, but that's the way I feel about your 2 bands, because one is a very technical, into those long songs bands. And then Billy, your band is more of the have a party and everybody loves to sing along with you and those kind of things, plus being great musicians. So you've taken this and like thrown all these top shelf musicians into a blender, and out comes this project called Billy Watts. And let's chat a minute about the show and all the details so people can get to that show if they want. So anybody that wants to take it here, go ahead. I'll pop it up on the screen as well for people to know what's going on about the show, date, time, all that.
I nominate Mark.
Well, the show is on July 11th at the Madison Theater in Covington. Or is it Newport? It might be No, I think it's Covington. I think we're going to start at 7 o'clock. You can get tickets now. Early bird price is $20 a ticket, and I think that only goes till maybe this weekend. This is an early bird thing. So Madison's a beautiful theater. We're actually looking forward to playing there. I think slightly bigger stage than we had at the 20th Century last year, although the 20th Century was just a beautiful place to play. Yeah, I think that's about it.
And we've got it there. You can get tickets at ticketweb.com. There's a link on the page on, I believe both bands have this event up on their pages. So if you want to go, there's a ticket link there you can click on to get those early bird prices on the tickets. And doors are at 7 that night. Show is at 8. I don't know what's going on in the area down there, but I will suggest if you're going to be there, get there early so you get good parking and all that, and you can get in the theater because it tends to get pretty busy down in that region when things are happening. And this is a Friday night. Do you know if there's a Reds game? That'll be the other issue to make sure people get in there early and can get to it on time. That'll be the big thing as well. So, any other songs you guys can toss out that people can hear that night? Just throw me a few teasers if you can. I want to hear what kind of music you're going to play.
Well, I want to mention before we get into more of the tunes is one of the great exciting things on top of all the band stuff is the production side, right? So Crown Watts, of course, has kick-ass production. Every time they play, it's really incredible. And for Billy Rock Band to get to be a part of that is another really exciting thing for us, right? So we'll have Tim Butterfield doing the amazing, unbelievable lighting, and I believe that he is now the actual install house lighting company for the Madison Theater. So
he's so good, so good.
And since it's basically his room now, you know, he will be pulling out all the stops. So the production level. And then having Mark Bransford mixing us at front of house. He's so incredibly well dialed into if you've seen the Crown Watts show, you know what I'm talking about. His sound chops are exemplary. So that's just a whole extra layer, which makes a show at a place like the Madison Theater go straight to full-blown national act concert level, right? And, you know, that's something that Crown Watts gets to bring to the game every time they go, right? And it's a huge commitment and expense to do all that. And for Billy Rock Band, you know, we play a lot of the smaller places. We're a good time band, a party band, and we have a minimal production footprint. So for us to get to go into maximum national act production land is super thrilling. And it makes it really fun on stage to be a part of that whole part of it too.
Yeah, and those two guys are great.
The crowd's going to love the look.
Tim Butterfield can make a band look just absolutely amazing on stage with his lighting cues and all that. Just it's perfect. And I've seen him do stuff with Genesis Retouched and those kind of just amazing production. And Mark Bransford, there's very few ears in the region that I compliment like I compliment him on sound quality, because I mean, he sent me some clips of doing Crown Watts shows and sent me some clips of just stripped out vocals and stripped out musicianship, and it's amazing what he does. He's a master at that. So Mark, if you're watching later today, if you're not on here, thank you so much. We love that guy, and he's the one responsible for setting this up as well. So thank you, Mark, for getting us dialed in with that. Hey, we got a couple minutes left, guys, so let's chat about the show again, and anything else you guys want to share about the show and what's going to be happening there at the Madison Theater on July 11th.
Well, just musically, like Billy said, we'll revisit a couple of the songs that we played in the past that seem to be crowd favorites. I can say that we have a few new songs that I think everybody's going to find really interesting that you don't hear too many bands play very often. That's as detailed as I can get with it.
This is like Under the Cloak of Darkness or something here. You guys got a lot of secrets going on with this show. We don't want to give it all away, do we, Billy?
No, I think it'll be fun for people to, especially for the folks that have come to the previous shows, to come and see, you know, that the drapes and carpet are changed. You know, there's some new things to look at. There's some new things to hear. And we're just, you know, really, it's not as covert as it is as much as we're just trying to give people another little incentive to come on out and be surprised by some things that they haven't seen or heard previously.
Well, big time excitement level for this show. And let me get to a few comments here for just a second before we close things out. Gosh. A lot of people commenting. Thank you, Carrie, for being here. Tim Butterfield is on with us today. Thank you, Tim, for joining us.
Timmy.
He'll be lighting up the show, as he says. Thank you. Mark Bransford is here. Doors at 7, 8 p.m. start, he said. Thank you for that. And Quentin Fife's in the house from Ladder, Latter, the band.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
you. We love those guys. And early bird ticket pricing until June 16th, Mark Bransford put in there. So getting a lot of comments, guys. Thank you. And please, if you have a question for these guys about the show in any way, shape, or form, they're going to post this on their page. I'm sure they'll see the comments pop up and they'll be able to answer those. So please drop them a comment, especially if you're watching after we're live here at noon this afternoon. I always go around the room when I do these shows. You guys that have been on with me before know my final question, as it's called. And that is, I'm going to start with Alex up in the top corner. If you could take the stage with any artist, past or present, who would it be? Who's your bucket list item?
Oof.
That's a good question.
Let's see. Right out of the gate. Maybe Mozart.
Wow, he went way back into the Wayback Machine.
I'm going to zoom in on him there because we're going to look into his eyes and say, you went deep in the closet on that one.
I would go. We just watched Amadeus, me and my boy last night. Yeah, probably Mozart. Anybody dead or alive, I'd probably go to Mozart.
Would you just stand there and look at him and go in awe? I mean, I think that's kind of a given. Right?
I'd ask him if he could write me a sweet guitar part, but I could probably cop some of the bass lines. That'd be fine.
That'd be good. Mark, how about you?
If I could go back in time, probably Francis Albert Sinatra. I would be on a stage with Frank Sinatra one time.
Yes.
So,
I've done this show a lot. I've interviewed a lot of people over the past 6 years here, and no one has ever said Frank Sinatra. So I'm happy to hear that, to be honest, because I love the old standards. I saw in Vegas Lady Gaga do a show which was all the old Frank and Tony Bennett songs and all that. She was phenomenal with those songs. 3 hours.
Yes, she was. I saw that too. That was impressive.
And I never, when I was told I was going to this show, I was like, really, Lady Gaga? I just, I like her, but I don't know if I can take 3 hours of her. I would have taken 8 hours of that show. That was so fantastic. Billy, how about you? And by the way, you're looking pretty beachy today. I got to say that. I just throw that out there.
I'm feeling beachy.
I'm usually on margarita bite.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm going to piggyback on what you were just saying, Scott. I think I agree. She also did that so well, and it's because she adopted the style of that time in her performance. I thought she crushed it, and it's funny that Mark brought that up because last night when I was in the kitchen putting on music, we have cooking teams every night and themes and craziness in my family, and I just pulled up crooners because I wanted to just listen to a mix. And, it's Frank and Andy Williams and Tony Bennett and, all the greats. And what a great era of music. It had so much style and class. But I guess my answer is kind of lame, but I would probably say Zeppelin just because of the energy and the pioneering sound they brought to rock at the time that they did. And I've always been obviously a huge fan. But here's my question for Scott Hall.
Oh, here we go.
Actually, this is more of a comment. And I know I've said it in the past, but I can't tell you how much all of us in this city and surrounding area appreciate what you do for us. You give us a voice, a platform to reach out. And we've talked about this off camera before. It's often a thankless job. It's a lot of work. And I want you to know how much we appreciate you and are grateful that you're standing up for us and trying to get us out there and help us have a voice.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, Billy, you're always pumping my tires, man. I appreciate it a lot. You do. And I appreciate that so much. And, we're just doing a service here to try to get the word out about live local music. And that's kind of what's behind all this. And hopefully people are taking note. And one thing that I love and adore that when people come up to me and say, hey, you caused me to get to know this band, and I heard about them on your show, and then we met and we've become friends, and that's the part of community I love about all this, and that's
Yeah,
why
I think
we're
we
still
need
doing
to
it.
do a show where we interview you
That can be scary.
and find
That
out
could
more
be-
about Scott, what makes Scott Hall tick.
That could be scary, but we might be able to pull that off. It's something. We've had a lot of loss in our music community recently too, and all the folks who have come before us who really set the standard for the local music scene and all that. So it's good that you guys are continuing on with what you're doing and this collaboration. And there's no egos, and that's what I love about your two bands. There is zero egos, and you guys just make it happen. And that it would be hard for a lot of bands to put two bands together and do a show without a lot of arguing over content and all that. And it sounds like Mark has nailed it with the music directorship of this show.
Yeah,
I'm trying.
Very
It's
good.
the
only
worst.
get one
It's the worst
trip,
job
you
in the
know?
world. That's why we. It's the worst. Like try.
Damn.
It's well, and Mark is you also, to be the leader of the musicians, you sort of have to be the top talent in so that, well, I feel like we're in really good hands with Mark Cooper as a musical director because he's an absolute badass, right? So, and I think that there's something true. It's a true blessing to be with a bunch of cats who, I think you nailed it, Scott, that there's no ego here. We're all doing this collaboration for our enjoyment. And if it was a bunch of squabbling and BS, no one would do it. We would have bailed. But it's not that. It's the opposite of that, actually. And it's just, it goes to show how blessed we are in this whole community. And, I've been in Cincinnati since 2004, and I've lived in many big cities across the country, and the musical camaraderie and having a scene where everyone cheers for everyone else's victories is astoundingly cool. And it's a paramount thing to have a cool vibe within your city so that we're not all trying to tear each other down, but rather build each other up so we can all have a great time. And certainly getting to, if you're in a rehearsal with these guys and you look around, it's just astounding, the talent in the room, and everybody's chill and everybody's cool. And it's really a great thing to be a part of.
Alex, I'm going to use that statement, brother. I'm going to use that statement because where everybody cheers for everyone else's victories is perfectly said. And thank you for that. And guys, I remember the first time I saw Crown Watts, I was blown away. When I first saw the Billy Rock Band, totally blown away as well. You're two of the top shelf bands in Cincinnati, and we appreciate you putting this thing together. I hope to be there on the 11th as well and see this show go on. I missed the last one, so I definitely want to make this one. And again, let's run down the list here. Rock Waves of the 70s and 80s at the Madison Theater, July 11th, doors at 7, show at 8, and you can get tickets early bird special right now, ticketweb.com. If you want to grab those, there's links on the band pages for those, and we'll get a link up in our comments here later today as well for this. Anything else, fellas, before we go?
Like that
Party on.
Party on, Garth. All right. Billy, what do you got?
I just want to, again, thank you, Scott, for giving us a platform, and my brothers and sisters in rock. We're looking forward to seeing you. And, the way that we know we've done our job well is if we see a lot of smiles out in the crowd. And of course, if we leave with our reputation intact. So I'll consider it a huge success if we get those two things.
Perfect. Mark, anything else you want to share today?
Yep, I just want to thank you for a professional show and helping us year after year, Scott. So appreciate it.
One quick question before we go. Dewey's asking for the many who want to show, will there be table seating at all, or is it first come, first serve? Do you guys know?
That I'm not sure of, but I guess in the
It'll
comments,
probably show up on the ticket link if there's table seating, I would assume, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put something out. That gives people the information they need regarding the seating versus standing, because we do have, in many respects, an older demographic, and I am that demographic, and there's a lot of times I don't want to end up standing for too long. So we will make sure that we put that out with our promotion so that people have that information.
And Mark Bransford is saying seating is first come, first serve, but there will be more than ample seating available. So there you go, people. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all being with me today. It's been a pleasure and an honor to have you on the program. And again, guys, hit them up on the Madison Theater for Billy Watts. It's going on July 11th, 7 p.m. doors, 8 p.m. showtime on that. And look at Alex. He's got balloons
Alex
flying.
Balloons, party balloons.
Alex, I can't love that anymore, man. Thank you so much. Guys, we'll see you next time. Thanks for being with me today. Hang in there for just.
Thank you.
I don't know how those balloons went.
You stepped it up, bro.
All I did was that. The screen did it all by itself.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't do anything.
Not doing it to me.
Science.
I want balloons.
We are still live, just so you know.